Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Meredith E. Phillips, and today I wanted to share with you how I am going to be tracking my reading in 2022. Almost everyone I know uses Goodreads to track their reading, and I also use Goodreads to track my reading, and I have for several years now. But if you use Goodreads, then you've probably experienced some issues with their website. The website looks like it's from maybe 1998. 2004 if we're being generous, and it's just kind of clunky. It works, but it's just kind of clunky. And there have been a lot of people in the past many years who have said, hey, could you maybe update it like just a little bit, please? And they seem to just not care. I don't know. It hasn't been updated as far as I can see in a really long time. It's in desperate need of an update, and they just haven't done it. So listen, I was like, you know what? Is there another way I can track my reading that won't be Goodreads? And I looked around and I did find one that I'm going to try out for hopefully the whole year. If I start using it and end up hating it for some reason, I will discontinue using it, but I'm going to go ahead and share that. But there's two main reasons that I wanted to find something different that wasn't Goodreads. The first reason is their terrible search function. If you've ever gone to the search bar to try to type in the title of a book, you have to type in like the entire book before it'll be like, oh, this one? And the suggestions that'll pop up first are like completely unrelated, and it's like, wait, huh? It's very odd the way it's set up. But the bigger reason is the star ratings. The star rating system is great. I like being able to rate a book with a certain number of stars out of 5 or however many you want to give me out of whatever. But the biggest annoyance on Goodreads is the fact that you have to rate something with a whole star rating. It has to be 4 out of 5. 3 out of 5, whatever out of 5. You don't have the option to do 4.5 or 3 1/4. Some people like to get real specific. It's annoying because I cannot tell you the number of times I've gone on Goodreads to rate a book, and it's annoying because I want to rate it like 3.5 or 4.5. It's not a 5-star book, but rating it 4 stars seems kind of low. I need a middle ground between 4 and 5, and they don't have one, and that's endlessly annoying to me. I don't like it. I don't want to rate something higher than I really think it deserves, but I also don't want to rate it lower than I think it deserves. I want to give the author and other readers a fair evaluation, and I feel like I can't do that with their star system. So those are my two big things, which it's at the end of the day, like, are those really like the biggest deals? Not really, but I was ready for something new, so I looked around and I found something called the StoryGraph. You might have already heard of this. It's been up for a while. For a while it was in beta testing, but now it's like officially live and it's not beta anymore. And I really have enjoyed using it so far. There are a couple cons to switching, which I'll get into here in a minute. But overall, I really enjoy how they have the website set up. It's very clean, it's very minimalistic. You don't have all the extras like you have on the Goodreads homepage. There aren't 25 million tabs you can go to. It's just real simple, which I very much enjoy. They also have a really expansive way and a very unique way of rating books. They have the ability to rate a book not just with half stars, but you can rate something 3 1/4 or 4.75, which I really like. I like that kind of nitty-gritty, really specific number. That to me is very satisfying. The other thing that you can do when you go in to rate a book is you can give a little bit of detail about the pacing of the book, the types of characters in the book, whether the book is plot driven or character driven. Like, there's a number of things that you get to kind of evaluate when you're rating a book. And I really like that because then when you go search for a book to read, you get those results back with everybody else's opinion. You know, this was slow paced, this was really fast paced, and it can help you narrow down which book you want to pick up next. You are able to write full reviews on the website, but they're not hidden, but you have to do a few extra clicks to get through to them. So the main thing you see when you go to a book's sort of info page is the star rating and all these other sort of ranking statistics sort of things, which I really enjoy so far. The really cool thing about the StoryGraph is, of course, the graph features. You can go to different years in your profile and see, you know, how many books did you read that were fiction versus nonfiction, or what genres were you reading, or what your average star rating was. They have all these little statistics that you can look at, which is just kind of fun. I don't know if that has any kind of particular use to it, unless you're really trying to like read more nonfiction. Like you can very clearly see if you've, you know, read enough for whatever is more to you. For me, I don't generally tend to have like really specific reading goals like that. I just read what I want. And so the graphs and stuff are just fun for me. I don't really take anything particularly away from them, but I really enjoy them. I like all that kind of statistics and graphs and all that kind of stuff. The other cool thing about the StoryGraph is the recommendations that they will give you. When you sign up for an account, they ask you some really specific questions about your reading tastes, what kinds of things you like, what kinds of things you don't like. And then when you get into your account, you can go to a recommendations page and they will pull up recommendations for you based on how you answered those questions and on your current reads and like how you've rated stuff, what things you tend to read and stuff like that. So the more you use the website, the more accurate the recommendations are supposed to become. Now, again, I've only just started using it, so I can't tell you yet whether the recommendations are good or bad, but they are there and they're supposed to be fairly accurate. So I'm excited to see how those sort of shape up as the year goes on. The other thing that I personally like about it is that you have complete control over your account in terms of who else sees it. Goodreads is set up to be another social media platform, right? And a lot of people use it that way, and that's great. I don't really use Goodreads that way. I know I have a couple people who follow me and they'll like my status updates and stuff, which is really nice, but I'm really not on there to interact with other people necessarily. It's just for my own reading, you know? And on the StoryGraph website, you can choose, do you want your profile and information to be public? Do you want it to be private? Do you want it to be available for certain people and not others? You have control over that. So if you want to use it a little more like an interactive social media site, you totally can. And if you don't really want that and you just want it to be a way to track your own personal reading, you can set it up that way for yourself too. So I really like that. I'm probably going to keep mine more on the private side just because I feel like, you know, I share a lot here on YouTube, I share a lot over on Instagram, and having something like that just be for me is kind of nice. So that's, I think, how I'm going to approach it, at least in the beginning. We'll see. Again, you know, I could change my mind later, but for now, I think that's what I'm going to do. They also have the ability to set yearly reading goals or other types of reading challenges for yourself. You can delve into that section of the website if you want. I don't tend to do a whole lot of reading challenges. Again, I just want to read what I want to read. Reading for me is a relaxing time. It's time for me to unwind and just enjoy something. And I don't want to turn it into like a super challenge for myself. I'm not looking for that. So I do like to have a general, like, this is the number of books I want to read for the year. So I like setting that kind of thing up. But again, I'm not super into reading challenges. Now, there are two major cons that I can see at this point for StoryGraph. The number one biggest thing for me personally is the fact that I have to actually go to the website or use the app, they do have an app for your phone, to look up a book and rate it once I'm done with it. Because Goodreads is owned by Amazon, which I didn't realize, which was stupid because my Kindle is linked with my Goodreads, so that should have indicated to me that they were, you know, in cahoots together. But I didn't figure that out until I saw somebody else's video about this. Anyway, I don't super care that they're owned by Amazon. I know some people don't like Amazon and don't want to support them, so if you weren't aware, Goodreads is owned by Amazon. But anyway, I do almost all of my reading on my Kindle at this point. I really very rarely buy a new book in the physical, you know, form. And so at the end of the book, when I get to the end, it automatically pops up a page asking you to rate it. You can click your star rating, and then you can click through to the, final page of the book or whatever and be done with it. And it automatically updates your Goodreads, which I really like. It's automatic. I don't have to think about it too much and it's done. Whereas with the StoryGraph, I am going to have to be disciplined and actually go on the app. It's not that big a deal. I just have to get my phone and like click it real quick. But you know me, I'm lazy, so I'll try to keep up with it. But that is one thing that I can see being a point of contention or a point of an area where I'm going to screw it up for myself. So we'll see. And of course, because you can also rate like how fast paced was this book? Did this book have diverse characters? Like they ask you a couple different questions on the website when you're rating a book. And so having to go through just those extra, this makes me sound so lazy, but I'm just being honest. Going through those extra steps, I'm going to have to like make myself do it because I'm so used to just finishing the book and clicking the star and, rating and being done. And this isn't that. It's a little more involved. So if you're the type of person you just want to give it a star rating and be done, StoryGraph maybe isn't for you. But I am interested to really give it a try and, push myself to click a few more buttons. Gosh, I'm so lazy. Anyway, that's probably going to be the biggest downfall for me when it comes to StoryGraph. The other thing that I have found to be a tiny bit of an issue, and I'm hoping that over time this will get better, because it still is a relatively new website and it has a relatively new database, and I think probably the team running it is smaller. Their book database is not updated as regularly or as quickly as Goodreads is. When an author announces a new book on their social media, you can almost immediately go to Goodreads and there will be like an entry for that book and you can add it to your TBR or you can look at the detail, you can do all this stuff. On StoryGraph, because it's a newer platform and there aren't as many users over there, of course, as there are on Goodreads, I find that the updates for like new books that are coming out, it's not as quick as Goodreads. It takes them a little longer to update it. And, again, is that like the biggest deal? Not really. It's not gonna mess me up a whole lot. And again, I think as time goes on and hopefully as they gain more users and build a bigger platform for themselves, they'll maybe be quicker about updating that kind of stuff. Oh, I almost forgot. There's one more thing I wanted to tell you. If you are interested in switching over to the StoryGraph, but you're like, I've been using Goodreads for like 15 years and I have all my data over there and all my TBR list, and they have a way to import all of your Goodreads data into your StoryGraph account. That was what really sold me on switching, because at first I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go through like 200 books that are on my TBR on Goodreads and enter them as new, to be read books over here. I'm not gonna do that. Ugh. But they have this whole system where you can go to Goodreads, download your data, upload it to StoryGraph, and within a few hours, it's like your account is updated. I did it. It was very easy. The directions were very straightforward. It was just a few clicks. It did not take long at all. So if you're waffling about switching, all of your Goodreads data can come with you. So yeah, that is my plan for at least the beginning of this year. If I find it too cumbersome or I just don't like it for some reason, I'll let you know. But I think it'll be a fun new way for me to track my reading for the year. I'm very excited to see the graphs and how they develop through the year too. I'll maybe share like at the end of the year, like my final yearly wrap-ups with the, all the graphs and stuff, which can be a lot of fun. Let me know how you track your reading. I know obviously, again, a lot of people use Goodreads. Other people have like bullet journals where they write down, whatever books they've read. I know there are other book reading tracking websites. So if there's other ones out there, let me know. Maybe I'll check them out, but I'm fairly happy with StoryGraph so far, so I'm going to give that one a go. But yeah, let me know if there's any other websites that you're aware of that can track your reading. For now though, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button. I post videos on Tuesdays and Fridays, except for the next 2 Fridays. I am going to take off the next 2 Fridays. I'm just going to take them off and I will have videos on the Tuesdays for the rest of this month. You can find me over on Instagram at Meredith Phillips Writes, and you can head over to my website, meredithphillips.com, to sign up for my newsletter. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.